Now it's to the war in the Middle East. IDF has taken control of the Rafah border crossing. Joining us live now is the former Navy SEAL, Dan O'Shea. Dan, good to see you after a while. So targeted strikes at this stage, is that just a message or is it something much more than that?
Well, Hamas has accepted the ceasefire deal and put Israel back up against the wall. The final phase of this, at least the portion for Gaza, is Rafah. What's left of the Hamas leadership is in Gaza. They likely probably have all the hostages with them. And of course, they've surrounded themselves by, innocent civilians. So they've set the stage for this confrontation. Israel has said we have to wipe out Hamas. Part of the deal is trading, getting back roughly 30 odd hostages, including the Israeli women, many of whom are military agents serving probably in the IDF, to get those women back. But in exchange for hostages or prisoners being held in Israel, many of whom have life sentences, which means they've been convicted of capital crimes. So it kind of goes, it's just a challenge here. This is so complicated, and this conflict is far from over. And Rafah is the next stage, and this ceasefire might just be a pause. And let's hope it happens and get some more hostages out. But there's no guarantees because these hostage deals have come close multiple times, only to be crushed at the last moment.
Yeah. So if you mentioned there in the first part of your response there that we were entering the final phase, but then you mentioned towards the back end that this war is far from over, and I think you're right. I think it is. Is that to suggest that this final phase is just going to take a long time?
Well, listen, you cannot put a timeline on war. Every president or premier or whoever does, history bites them. You can't do that. War is methodical. The problem is, the stated goals of both. Hamas has stated we want to wipe out Israel. They will plan another October 7th. Is it going to be next year, next month? No, potentially, but it will happen again. I mean, Israel has faced it, seismic challenge virtually 5 times since the formation in 1948. And Netanyahu is very serious, and his senior IDF leadership is. And my contacts that I've talked to on the ground in Israel, a lot of the Israeli people, again, many are protesting Netanyahu, but there's plenty of people, hardliners, who believe there will be no peace as long as one Hamas fighter is armed, and that's why they're seeking the end of Hamas. They both.
Yeah, sorry, Dan. Just on this operation, though, I mean, there are so many complexities to it in this southern part of Gaza, but the biggest part is the refugees. When you got, more than 1 million people with nowhere else to go, how do you wage war in that environment?
Well, what you have are essentially Hamas has turned the entire population of Gaza into hostages themselves. They are living in virtually almost identical conditions that the Israelis hostages are, who are likely buried in these tunnels, but lack of food, proper water. I mean, this has been horrific. This is as tragic for the Gazans themselves, because both are being held hostage to this conflict, and there are no winners in this. And of the 130 odd hostages left, presumably a third of them have already died if reports are true. So there's just no win for anyone in this situation. And even if the war ended tomorrow, the conflict ended tomorrow, we're talking years of rebuilding houses, apartments, and infrastructure in Gaza that will take decades.
Who's going to do that?
Well, the last people who did it was the international community. And we found out largely that the billions, millions of dollars were largely put into standing up, shoring up defenses and tunnel systems and networks for, and buying rockets, frankly, for Hamas to attack Israel. So, it should be shame on me once, shame on me twice. But I would be hard pressed to see the international community rushing to, put forth the billions that were put into Gaza over the last 2 or 3 decades. Okay. But, probably will happen again in the West.
Okay, Dan O'Shea, good to see you. Thanks for your time.